Good evening, everyone. Welcome to session 4 of the Flawless Communicator. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm hoping that, I hope that you've been enjoying it. From your feedback, I can see that you've been enjoying the workshop, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm glad that you're learning. Before we start, just a bit of introduction about myself. I am Titi Omole, and I'm the founder and CEO of Cause for Children Limited. We are not-for-profit, and our mission is to empower youth to thrive. Apart from that, I've also into project management with experience in information, data analysis, business analysis in IT industry. I'm also an author. We talked about my book last week, and thank you. Thanks to those of you who have gone ahead to patronize. Thank you very much. I'm grateful for that. Also to let you know that we have several initiatives for young people, including True Little Hero Awards, which is going to open up in August. This award ceremony is to celebrate efforts and achievements of young people like yourselves in the UK and worldwide. So look out for that in August. We also do mentorship and training workshops. One of them is this Flawless Communicator, and we have another one coming up soon after the Flawless. So also look out for that. Okay, so please leave your feedback when we ask you to please give us your feedback. They're important to us. Please make sure that you do that. And please go to our social media channel if you know you like what we're doing. All our sessions, you've been enjoying them, then go on there and like our page, follow us. We are on Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or you could visit our website www.causeforchildren.co.uk or www.truelittlehero.com to find out more about what we're doing. Okay, and also to let you know, this afternoon I'm going to have Sidika, Shiloh, and Kaden will be presenting. I'm going to hand you over to Juliana, who will be leading the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Titi. Hi, everybody. Thank you to those who have signed in. As Titi said, which I certainly don't want because I need you in here, you need to make sure you abide by the rules. Please make sure your microphone is muted, your camera is switched off. You don't really need to raise your hand if you want to speak. I'm happy for you to write freely as long as it's appropriate and respectful in the chat throughout the discussion, and just respect everybody. Comments and feedback, as Titi mentioned, should go in the Calls for Children Limited ltd@gmail.com email address. Please do that. That's really important. As we have always done, very quickly, because we've got a lot to go through. If you could please right now in another tab, go to www.slido.com. What you can see right now on your screen is what you will see when you go to that website. As ever, we have a hashtag, which is flawless. Once you type that in and you join an existing event, you will see that the poll is there. Please, everybody go in. I can see at the moment there's only 3 of the tens and tens of people we have online. So please go in there and tick the age band that applies to you. Very important information. I'm sure everybody is enjoying this session, and the more Calls for Children sessions you attend will be tailored to you if we know exactly who's joining. So please do that. I'll just leave a minute or so for you to do that. Hope you've all had a lovely week. I'm sure you all have. So if you can do that, please. I'll be moving on swiftly, but this is at www.slido.com, and the hashtag is flawless. And you will see that we have a poll here for your demographic. I can still see less than 50% of people are doing that, so please do that immediately. Caden is asking how he changes his settings. I'm not certain of that. Perhaps Titi will be able to help you privately. Okay, So let's move on. Again, I'm sure most of you know me. It's just important for you to know who I am and why I'm doing this for you. I'm Juliana Olayinka. I'm 34. I live in East London. I have studied throughout my career. I did politics, English, and psychology at Westminster Kingsway, which is a college in King's Cross. I went to University of the Arts London, London College of Printing for my journalism undergraduate degree. I also have a master's degree, which is an extended learning in global diplomacy. I've worked for various news channels on screen and off screen. These include Channel 4, the BBC, MTV, Thomson Reuters, Bloomberg. I've also spoken at the United Nations in New York and in Geneva. And what you can see there, I don't think I've explained this, but this picture of me is actually in my studio where I currently work. I run a bureau for a Nigerian news channel in London. I have my own show, and that's me sitting there. All of this you can do. And hopefully, with encompassing all we've been learning over the past couple of weeks, you would have picked up some of these tips, these secret tips. So basically what we have been doing, and what we did in our first session, was basically defining what communication is and building your self-confidence. You cannot be an excellent communicator without confidence. We then went on to look at our digital footprint and the importance of what you put out on social media. Writing made easy, that was last week, and looking at how writing doesn't need to be, oh my goodness, I can't be bothered to do my homework. Writing should be something that's simple as writing the alphabet. And we looked last week at writing blogs, and we are going to be looking at some of your blogs later on in the session. And today, our penultimate session, I'm getting sad, is about the other side of the story. And this is really cementing everything we've learned, because we're going to be looking at the media and the importance of that information we get out of the media. And next week will be our final presentation, and I'll be speaking to you about the details of that towards the end. So the course goals, what I want you to have achieved: descriptive, effective communication, an understanding of your online footprint, writing a clear, descriptive piece of text, presenting an argument, and understanding the role of the media. And when it comes to the media, we'll be discussing that today. As I always have, it's good to start off with a strong statement. This week, this is the year I will be stronger, braver, kinder, and unstoppable. This year, I will be fierce. Now, I said that for myself, and I hope you guys, you're muted, but you can say that and repeat it and know that 2020 is not cancelled. We've had a severe pandemic, we've been locked down, but this year is not over. It's not a year you're just going to dump. It's a year you are going to use to bring out the best of you. Now, today, as I said, we're going to be looking at the other side of the story. We want to know about everything. And before social media, there was the traditional media. And I'm just going to explain to you a brief history and an analysis of what the traditional media is. Media refers to the groups that communicate information and news to the masses, which is basically to everyone. Media can be divided into three types: print media, broadcast radio, and broadcast television. Print media, you can see some examples here in the images. Print media is the printed version of telling the news and is responsible for reporting the latest and most accurate political, human interest, cultural, and sports stories. Print media can also be divided into different segments. So you can have business newspapers or magazines. You can have education magazines. You can have entertainment newspapers or publications. You can have travel publications, and you can have fashion publications. Once the internet was introduced, print media sales declined. Newspapers and magazines responded by hosting online websites in addition to their print version. That had to happen because as soon as the internet was there, it was so easy for somebody to look at a news story right there and then. If you pick up a newspaper at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have the detail, but you won't have the accuracy, because by the time it's 12 o'clock, that story that was written at 9 o'clock is almost old. So how a lot of these newspapers, these traditional media platforms transformed is by moving their version online. So for example, you have the Guardian newspaper. I can go and buy that at the shop at the top of my road, but then I can also go on the Guardian website. That's how the traditional media evolved. The predicted demise of print media, however, hasn't happened. When I studied journalism about 10 years ago, one of the things my teachers were saying to me is that newspapers are declining, but they've never left. People always like to have that feel and that touch of that newspaper or that magazine, and they like to sometimes keep them in their homes. Never underestimate the importance of holding a newspaper or a book, especially at your age, because I know you're in a digital age and you may think that it's unnecessary. It's not. If you can, make the time out to purchase a magazine or a newspaper, and you will see the depth and the context of the information that's within it. Right. Another traditional media platform is radio. This is broadcast. Why is it broadcast? Because it's not something you read, it's something you hear or listen to or can watch. The next advancement in telecommunications from newspapers was radio, which was the first wireless mode of communication. So this is something that was used through waves. Free music, news, chat, and storytelling wherever you go. That basically is what traditional media radio is. Until the internet came along, nothing could rival the reach of radio, not even television. I'm telling you, back in the day, radio was the big thing, especially when it came to the early 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. That was basically how families would get the news. The same way now you can go upstairs and you get a news flash on your phone, or you can go into Facebook. You know, 50, 60 years ago, people heavily relied on radio. In the early 1920s, as I said, radio played an important role in people's lives, and over 500 radio stations were broadcasting. That was where people would get their news. Although radio broadcasting is not quite as popular as it once was, it has recently gained a new lease of life with the arrival of better quality digital radio sets. So as I explained with newspapers, and that newspapers are still in existence, but now they're online, radio is also digital. So rather than having a big box in your kitchen where you have to twist the dial, you can easily just go online, type in the radio like LBC, which I am quite a fan of, 97.3 FM. I can just type that into the internet and it's digital radio. So these traditional media, oh, they're dead or they're irrelevant. No, 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 they're not. They've just evolved. The final, some would say the most important traditional media is television. 70 years ago, it was unusual for a home to have a TV. Now, according to the latest statistics, 96% of homes in the UK have one. 96%. That is staggering. I'm sure many of you probably have more than one TV. Some, if you're lucky or unlucky, might have a telly in your room. The first ever UK British TV transmission was made by the BBC in 1932. The BBC is a public service broadcaster. What that means is that in return for payment of a license fee, the BBC provides viewers with a service of programmes with wide appeal that are guaranteed to conform to its public service remit to inform, educate and entertain. It's important you understand that, because the reason why you may hear, if you live in Britain, oh, the BBC, the BBC, the BBC, is because the BBC is paid by us. It's paid by your parents. We pay for the BBC. It's not a free channel. All of the programs that are on the BBC are there to serve everybody. So anytime there's a complaint about what people are seeing on the TV, the BBC are usually the ones that have to defend themselves, because they have to cater for white people, black people, Asian people, young people, people who like football, people who like ballet, people who want to watch Strictly Come Dancing, films from America. They have to give everything to everyone because we pay for it. The main broadcasters in the UK are the BBC, which is British Broadcasting Corporation, ITV, I'm sure you guys know ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, and Sky. I particularly like Sky for their news. Okay, just one moment. Right, okay, so I've just given you a breakdown of what traditional media is, and as always I have a video, so please do watch this video. I see a couple of questions in the Zoom chat, so whilst we're watching this video I will try to respond to those questions.
From she couldn't even hear you.
Okay, I think that was a really nice, summary of what the media is. We're going on to our first activity, and this is the time when I'm going to hear from you. So everybody get in the chat. What is the role of the media? I want you guys to start letting me know what the role of the media is. From what I've just explained and what you've just seen, if I was to answer that question, I would say the role of the media is to inform. You could also say entertain and educate, but definitely inform. What is the role of the media? I also want to know, which traditional media platform do you consume the most? A couple of years ago, I would have said TV, but I think now I probably consume more news, more newspapers, and more publications. I want you to name 5 news outlets. I've given you some assistance, but I want you to name 5 news outlets. I can see somebody put Sky News. I would like to see you put some more news outlets. I could name one and say The Economist. That's one of my favorite publications. Fox News, yep. CNN, great. BBC, brilliant. Is traditional media still relevant? Now, that's an important question, especially considering the age of most of you. Do you think traditional media is still relevant? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I didn't really see a lot of answers for which traditional media platform do you consume the most. I said for me now, it's got to be newspapers, television, Michael says. Okay. Yeah, online. Okay, but Adebola, is that online radio or is that online print? Okay, YouTube. Someone said YouTube, but again, YouTube is that's new media. That's not traditional media, but it's interesting. Okay, so a lot of you still watch TV. Brilliant. Let's move on. So, fact versus opinion. I cannot emphasize to you guys how exceptionally important it is for you to decipher what a fact is and what an opinion is. And what the media do, the traditional media, will mostly give you facts. But you have to understand, as with social media, opinion is always going to creep in. So once you are able to determine what the difference between a fact and opinion is, you can come up with your own view. If you believe everything you read and everything you hear, you're going to get yourself in serious trouble. So as a strong communicator, as somebody who is able to elevate in their career, elevate in the world, you must know how to tell the difference between what somebody is telling you, if it's fact or opinion. And I'm going to emphasize that because that is exceptionally important. The ability to distinguish between fact and opinion is extremely important, as I've just been screaming. What are facts? A fact is something that can be proven true. For example, a fact is the earth is round. That is a fact. The earth is round is a fact because there is evidence to prove that it is true. You can read about it in an encyclopedia or look at pictures taken from satellites and physically see that the earth is round. That is a fact. I also want you guys to put in some facts in the chat for me, please. What is an opinion? An opinion states a person's or a group's thoughts, feelings, or beliefs about something. It cannot be proven to be true because it relies on your feelings, your thoughts, or beliefs of a specific person or a group. For example, an opinion would be, space is awesome. You know this is an opinion because it tells you about a feeling or a belief. Someone may think that space is awesome, but another person might think it isn't. It cannot be proven true. That is an opinion. It is important, and again, I've highlighted, it is important to understand that things are not always as they appear to be. At times, writers, whether consciously or not, will frame opinions as facts, as vice versa. I've been working in the media for 14, 15 years, and I can tell you now that the media sometimes distort the reality. Listen to what the media says, but not every single thing you hear is a fact. For example, I'm sure many of you may have heard people say, Donald Trump is racist. Boris Johnson is racist. They are not facts. They are opinions. You can believe it, but when you don't have evidence that is academically proving to be true, that is a feeling. So when people have feelings, you can disagree with them, but you disagree with them because you don't like their opinion. So you need to understand, as you're climbing up your career and your communication evolves, that not everything you hear and see, even if it's from your best friend, and I've got to say, I know there's some parents on the line, even from your parents may not be facts, okay? Brilliant. Ivy and Janice have said fact, Ghana is in Africa. Brilliant. That is a fact because we know it's in the continent, we have maps, it's been explored, it is in Africa. Opinion, Trump is one of the worst leaders. That is an opinion. Why? You may not like him, you may not like his views, but there are several people that do like him and several people that do like his views. So the opinion that he's a bad leader is just an opinion. Thank you. And Remy also agrees that sometimes parents do shape what we share with our children, and it's wrong. We've got a 5-minute break now. Debate. Crucial if you are to be a flawless communicator. A debate is an organized argument or contest of sides, of ideas, in which the participants discuss a topic from two opposing sides. The aim of a debate is to convince the opposition that you are right. Those who agree with the statement or idea are the for side. So if you agree with what's being proposed, you're for. Those who will not agree with the statement or idea are the against side. There are people that are for Donald Trump. There are people that are against Donald Trump. Each side will show in an organized and clever way why they believe they have the right answers. They will use examples and evidence to support their ideas while working towards a conclusion. When the two sides agree on the subject, or when one side's arguments are more convincing than the other side, that's when the debate comes to a close. In a formal debate, a mediator, a person that has not agreed with the for or against, will decide who the winner should be. In an informal debate, the argument can continue until the time when one side gives up. Really important. A debate is typical when you are using your opinion and you're able to have a discussion with somebody and you give them evidence as to why your opinion about a fact should be considered and why they should believe in what you've got to say. It's so crucial, especially when you're from a working class background or you haven't been to the finest schools and you haven't learned to articulate yourself and you haven't learned to decipher the difference between fact and opinion. It's important that you are able to debate and articulate yourself in a way that doesn't intimidate people, in a way that doesn't make you look aggressive, but a way where you're giving evidence and arguments to decipher and to tell your mother, Mother, this is the reason why Mrs. Phillips doesn't like me. It's not because I'm always talking. It's because of this, this, this. These are the reasons why. You have got to learn to be able to communicate yourself and defend yourself, defend your beliefs, defend your opinions in a way that isn't hostile. I use the picture here of the House of Commons, which is a seat, a structure within Westminster where MPs sit, because all they do is debate. They use those chambers to debate. Debate is good. Debate is important. Debate is another way of communicating, but you must learn to do that with evidence. Like in court, absolutely, Elizabeth. So we're going to, before we start rounding up, have a look at a very popular debate show, a news programme on the BBC. And this is a show that I watch often, and I'm sure many of your parents may have seen it. It's called BBC Question Time. BBC Question Time is a popular debate TV programme featuring prominent politicians, journalists, and other influential public figures. Somebody mentioned earlier in the Zoom chat that, oh, some people are paid for their opinion. These are the kind of people that are. Every show, a Question Time show, is organised around a few big questions asked by the audience members selected from a local community. The panellists discuss around the posed questions, and in addition, the host, the current host is Fiona Bruce, She asked the audience to comment on the panelists' viewpoints. The show is broadcast every Thursday morning. BBC Question Time is a really good example of a news programme that has debate, that has facts, that has opinions, and you're able to decipher between the two. The audience are able to decide who they think is right and who they think is wrong. I've got a very brief video of a under 30s question time. Before the British election in December last year, a lot of young people got together and they were able to ask the most prominent politicians and journalists in the country what they thought. And I'm going to play you some of this now. I won't play all of the video because we have a lot to get through, but I'll play the first 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
And you all no one can hear you. You know, now I know how John Burke is the student. Right.
Brexit, EU membership. Brexit.
The matter of the EU. How old were you when you first purchased a property?
22.
In my late 20s.
25.
26.
27. 26, I think.
For 100,000 council homes, making sure that the contracts for tenancy is a minimum of 3 years of rent control in line with inflation.
You built 57 council houses in Wales last year. The year before that, you built 0. The year before that, you built 0. The year before that, you also built 0.
Angela, listen, Rob, excuse me.
The point is this, Angela, you're in power, you're in government in Wales now, you could do all of those things.
Passed on by the Tory
government. Nothing to do with austerity. These are laws you could pass where you are in power now, and you're not doing it. Nigel was once late to a UKIP reception, and he blamed the traffic in the M4 on immigrants. I mean, that's how ludicrous it is that he blames every social element. The population of 8 million has made our roads that immigrants have contributed much more to this society than they have ever taken.
Unequivocally stood up for migrants and refugees when the other parties have compromised. And that horrible rhetoric that came out in the referendum, that scaremongering, and Nigel, you standing in front of that breaking point poster was the lowest point in my life.
The Labour Party, is saying other parties have got a racism problem. But you want to wake up and smell the coffee. You're quite right. You've got an anti-Semitism problem.
In our manifesto, we're giving £9 billion to help more energy efficiency, starting with schools and hospitals.
You just abolished the Department for Climate Change. You sold off the Green Investment Bank and you stopped offshore wind.
The Green Investment Bank is succeeding in the private sector. If you don't think there's a role for the private sector in meeting our climate change obligations, then you've gone the same loony direction as the Labour Party.
Robert,
we
can I
need
take offence
hundreds of
with your
billions
language?
more.
Just don't call us a loony party, because that's offensive language, actually. I don't appreciate it.
Okay, guys, I could go on and on, but that is an example. And let me just make this abundantly clear. The BBC Question Time is the most watched political debate show. And you can see how these politicians acted. They were, interrupting each other, as somebody pointed out. They were not aggressive, but they were certainly getting their point across. But you can see that they were using facts. They were using facts to answer questions. But then, of course, because they're involved in different political parties, a lot of opinion came in. So a Conservative Party member, he is going to have a different opinion to somebody who is on the Labour Party. And they try to convince people by using the facts of the matter and then using an opinion to shape their mind. It's very important. And as you can see, this is how they were acting on TV. I'm sure many of you at school act much better. But as soon as you exhort to calling people names, as soon as you exhort to getting right in people's faces, as soon as you become aggressive, you've lost your argument. So please, I want you guys, if you are going to excel in becoming great communicators and people who are able to fight the cause of others who cannot, you need to learn how to debate. You need to learn the difference between a fact versus an opinion. And you need to understand that not everything you read or hear from social media and even the traditional media is true. Okay, that is the importance. I think we've had enough of that, haven't we? Okay, so guys, this brings us to our final assignment. Oh my God, I'm so sad. And we're going to be debating next week. Next week, we are going to be debating. Next week is our final session, and every single individual that sends in their assignment to Titty and the Calls for Children ltd@gmail.com website will be taking part. I'll discuss with Titty whether we can see your video, but we are certainly going to hear from you. So I want you to prepare statements, statistics, and facts to answer the following question. Does technology get in the way of learning? Does technology get in the way of learning? This is not a yes or a no answer. I want you to prepare 5 reasons for why you are for or against this statement. 5 reasons. They don't have to be long-winded, they can be bullet pointed, and it's whether or not you believe, yes, technology does get in the way of learning, and this is my reasons. Or you're like, of course technology doesn't get in the way of learning. These are my reasons. Everybody must take part, because this is, to me, the most important part of communicating, being able to articulate yourself. So this is what we're going to be doing next week. We're going to have a very thorough debate. Do we write approximately a paragraph and a half? That's from Angela Olua. Perhaps, you know, the more the better, basically. But so it can be clean and concise, and we can divide you into knowing who is going to be for and against. All I need is, yes, I agree with this statement, or no, I don't. And these are the reasons why. Okay? So all responses must be sent to callsforchildrenltd@gmail.com by 5 p.m. on Friday. I will be really disappointed if less than half of you join in, because this is a fundamental part of communicating. Now, I'm so excited to have Sadiqa. Sadiqa, are you here? We asked you a couple of weeks ago, we've been asking you to hand in homework every week. And I'm so happy that during our Writing Made Easy, when I asked you to write a blog post, your very first blog post, that Sadiqa took up the mantle. So I would love Sadiqa, in 2 minutes or less, to briefly tell us about her post and read the first 2 or 3 paragraphs from your blog post. Sadiqa, are you there?
Here I am.
Hello, Sadiqa. Well done.
Hi.
Well done. Tell us a little bit about your blog.
So I decided that my blog would just be like just about food, life and fashion, I guess. It's called Life According to Sid, and I wrote about my experience in Ireland a few years ago. So the first few...
Please read it for us.
Okay. It's funny how the way you remember things aren't always the way they really happened. How your mind makes things more dramatic and a lot more traumatizing than the other witnesses claim. Let me tell you a story. In 2011, my family and I went to Ireland, the land of potatoes and 4-leaf clovers. Anyway, we were doing touristy things like sightseeing and shopping when my dad saw a man raising money for charity and said, Sadiqa, go and give that man some money. So I took the money and headed towards the man. Now this is where the versions of the story start to change. My parents and everyone else's is that I headed towards the man, and the man's dog, yes, a big brown dog, which was nearly twice the size of 5-year-old me, simply barked at me. But here are my version of events. As my dad handed me the money, I looked the dog in its evil eyes, seeing an unfathomable hatred in them. Bravely, heroically, I headed off to donate what was probably around €2 into the man's jar. As I approached, the dog launched itself at me, barking at me, nearly biting me, sending little old me into a flurry of panic, sprinting into the safe embrace of my parents' arms. Even to this day, I feel the trauma of that incident. But my mum claims, and I quote, it was just a puppy, Sadiqa.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Oh, that's absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of you. Well done, Sadiqa. That was amazing. And not only is it a really, really basic blog post, a nice picture, a nice story. Sadiqa knows what she wants to be writing about, her lifestyle, food and fashion. She also is able to tell a story, which is great. And that shows me that beyond writing blog posts, Sadiqa could perhaps be somebody that could go on to write stories or write articles. So this is the reason why it's important to focus on your assignment. Sadiqa, congratulations and well done. We also have another really exciting post, and this is from Shiloh. Shiloh, are you here? Please present to us.
Hi.
Hello, Shiloh. Tell us about your blog. What's your blog about and what's it called?
My blog is called Shiloh's Life, and it's just about like things I normally do and animals and stuff like that.
Brilliant. Let's read your post.
Okay. Yesterday, me and my family spent the day at the beach. It was really nice to go out and enjoy the fresh air as we had been locked up in our houses due to lockdown. We got up early in the morning and headed to the seaside. It took us about 2 hours to get there. It was quite windy, but the view was beautiful, and there were many grassy hills and even trees. We'd even seen some horses. They were really friendly and let us pet them. After we said goodbye to them, we headed to climb one of the highest hills. Though it took us a while, we managed to do it. Going down the hill was much easier. Once we finally climbed all the way down, we went to the seafront and relaxed on the rocky beach. We found many seashells and oyster shells, even a live crab. I also found some beautiful rocks. One of my favorite ones was the red one I found. After chilling at the seafront for a while, we went to go grab ourselves some dinner. We drove to the nearest fish and chip shop and ordered a takeaway. Then we went back to the beach and ate on the beach. The food was very nice. I ordered a burger and some fries. After staying there for almost the whole day, we headed on our way back home.
Bravo, bravo, Charlotte. Do you know what? As you were reading it, I just saw myself there. I visualized myself at the beach, even the fish and chips, which I'm craving right now. This is excellent. This is excellent. This is a great first start. I want you guys to build on this. Please, if there is anything you're going to take away from this, build on the work that you are doing because it's exceptional. And as I said with the Writing Made Easy session, the more you practice, the better you will get. So this is exceptional. And there is still time, guys. Calls for Children are continuously working with you. Please send in your blog posts to the Calls for Children Limited email address. I've been blown away. I was so happy I almost cried, I've got to tell you, because this is just such great work. And I can see the potential if you just keep pushing. Thank you so much, girls. Week is the final session. So I need you guys to answer the question, does technology get in the way of learning? This is all we're going to be doing next week. We are going to be debating whether or not technology gets in the way of learning. This is the way we're going to be able to see you and hear you. So we can select you and package next week's session properly, we need to know your 5 reasons, okay? Thank you so much, guys. It's been absolutely amazing. I'm so sad that this is soon to come to an end. As we always do, please go back to Slido. Gosh, my communication, it's gone into you guys. Go to www.slido.com and #flawless, and we'll just get some really nice feedback. And we're going to have a really lovely final session. You know, guys, I've got to tell you that the communication is it's so important. It's such an important skill to master, you know, whether you're going into communication or not. So I do want you to take all of this very, very seriously. Put your feedback in there. And thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.